It's only been 1 week. Do not panic. I have waiver wire pickups for week 2 that's going to 1,005% guarantee you're going to win your league. I repeat, do not panic. If you own Nick Chubb, do not panic. If you own Baker Mayfield, do not panic. But if you own Kerryon Johnson, you should panic. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. These are my week 2 waiver wire pickups for fantasy football. We have an extensive list of waiver wire pickups for every position, including defense and kicker, and I ranked them for you. We're going to go through them right now. We're going to start off with quarterbacks, and QB and wide receiver is so dang deep this year. It's extremely deep. There's really so many options to go with quarterback, so many options to go with wide receiver, but we do have some quality pickups and some quantity. My number one stream option this week, and keep in mind, I do only talk about players who I think have a realistic shot of being on your waivers. Sometimes I go for 60% owned, but I try to stick with 30 to 50% owned or less. I know a lot of people are in 8-team leagues, 10-team leagues, and even people watching are in 16-team leagues. So I try to help everyone out a little bit. So Derek Carr, I always like to target quarterbacks going against the Chiefs because Mahomes is amazing. There's really no other word to describe him. He's just absolutely amazing. No matter what the matchup is, there's a good chance he's going to ball out. And what is the opposing team going to do? They're going to have to throw the ball. Derek Carr was pretty accurate, pretty efficient, but he actually threw a decent amount of passing yards. Could have got over 300 passing yards if that game, that Monday night game against the Broncos was a little bit more of a shootout, but it was more of just like, let's get out of here. We got the win. Our team's playing great. Let's just leave. And going against the Chiefs, this could be a sneaky shootout, like a super. It could be the highest scoring game of the week. So I'm not fully sold on Derek Carr. I'm not saying he's elite or anything, but hey, if you're in a dual quarterback league or you need a fill-in for any circumstance, maybe your quarterback is absolute trash. Going against the Chiefs, it's not that bad. And dare I say, the Raiders have an elite O-line. Could it be a top 3 O-line when this season is done? We'll see. I think week 1 was a pretty good test, how that O-line held up against Chubb and Von Miller. They seemed to do nothing. Yeah, man, that was a pretty good test. Let's see what they can do against the Chiefs. I'm sure the O-line will play well again. This video is sponsored by monkeyknifefight.com. It's super easy to play, super simple fantasy prop games. And this week, I'm looking at this game right here. As you saw, Derek Carr was my number 1 waiver wire QB stream / waiver pickup. And I like to go with the over-under here. Last week, it was about 182.5 pass yards for Lamar Jackson. We absolutely crushed that and went with the over. I said he'd get like 220 pass yards. Obviously, he did way better than that. And this week, I'm going with the over for both. Let's go with the super shootout. Number 1 shootout for this week. Let's go over for Mahomes and over for Derek Carr. And you can play too right now. Just head on over to monkeyknifefight.com or follow the link below in the description. When you deposit, you get 100% deposit match up to $50. Just use promo code COUCH and you'll get that 100% deposit match. Also really helps support this channel. So again, head on over to monkeyknifefight.com or follow the link below in the description. Use promo code COUCH and go ahead and play. I'm going over 300 pass yards for Mahomes, over 267 pass yards for Derek Carr. Super shootout. Let's go. Kirk Cousins seems to be a better quarterback already than last year. Vikings seem to be a better team than last year. Going against the Green Bay Packers could be a bit of a shootout. Josh Allen is a good stream for this week going against the Giants and a good long-term quarterback. Just a little bit surprised he's not owned in more leagues. He's owned in about 30% of leagues. And Jameis Winston, a lot of people are throwing fruit at the stage at me. Hey, I said quarterback was deep. I tried to explain myself. I knew the risk, and it just completely failed. This Jameis Winston experiment was god-awful. He was even worse than last year, made the same stupid mistakes, but didn't even throw the ball down the field. But I wouldn't drop him just yet. in deep leagues. Look, if you're in a 10-team league or there's great quarterbacks, you should probably drop them. But in a 12-team league or a deep league, I would try to hold on to him. There's not that many incredible waiver wire pickups probably in your league if you're in a 14-teamer or any deeper than that. Let's see how he does. He might ball out in the next couple games, and maybe he sucks. Then you can drop him. I'm definitely, like, if he's not performing very well, if he doesn't light up the scoreboard, then you probably want to drop him before bye weeks hit. Like, I get that. And again, if you want to drop him now, I totally understand. He's going to get dropped in a lot of leagues. So I'm expecting 15% of leagues to drop him. Like, he's going to get dropped in a lot of leagues, and he's going to be dropped by a lot of emotional fantasy owners and a lot of logical and reasonable ones too. I would try to maybe pick him up or hold on to him. Don't use a waiver claim. Don't use really any free agency acquisition budget. Just a good free agency ad, and maybe hold him on if you have the roster space. Enough talk about Winston. My God, what a horrible performance. Niners D went off that game. Matthew Stafford, I think he played very well, but we don't know if this is going to hold up. Supposed to be a run first team, right? Run heavy team. What happened? I don't understand. Why didn't Carry On go off? I have zero explanation for that. He didn't get a ton of opportunities, but still, why didn't he get more opportunities? Maybe if they ran the ball more like the Texans tried to do, maybe they could have won this game, as they had it won at halftime. Like, the Cardinals did nothing. They were actually a complete disaster. Could have been one of the worst performances in the first half other than the Dolphins. It was just horrible. Guys, you could have won. Just run the ball with Carry On. I don't know what's going on. Little short passes to Carry On Johnson. Run the ball with Carry On. Milk the clock. Get some first downs. I don't know. Whatever. Just don't have that much confidence in Stafford. I guess he's an okay QB too. And then Andy Dalton, he's soon to fail. Led the league in passing yards. I think, is that right? He threw over 400 passing yards week 1 against the Seahawks in Seattle with no AJ Green. That's pretty incredible. And Mixon got hurt. Wow, that's pretty incredible. And then Gardner Minshew. I really want to hop on the Minshew bandwagon, the Minshew train. But I just can't really put him any higher than number 7. I mean, I guess I could put him at number 4, 5, or 6. It's not that big of a difference. Definitely can't put him in top 3 because Foles will come back, likely start, so that'll be like week 11 maybe. The Jaguars don't have great matchups, playing against Texans, Titans, Broncos, Panthers, and Saints. That's not really that good. And if Fournette can not be a complete NFL draft bust, they should run the offense through him and play defense. Obviously, things don't work out that way, and there's a good chance it won't, knowing Fournette and how this defense and team is just kind of a disaster, getting in fights, getting suspended, Fournette getting injured. But I like Minshew as a talent. I think he has a lot of upside. I guess just put him on your watch list. He's definitely a must-add in those dual quarterback leagues, those super flex leagues. Obviously, you want to add him. Nick Foles is hurt. And in those type of leagues, you want to hoard 3, 4, and if the league is set up incorrectly, 5 quarterbacks, because QBs are currency in dual QB and superflex leagues. For running backs, we have a lot of quantity, not that much quality, unfortunately. But for a running back, I guess you can say there is some quality add since they're so scarce. We do have some ones that are basically must-adds, and Raheem Mostert's at number 1 on my list. He's more of a stream. He's a really hard runner. Reminds me a little bit like Philip Lindsay or Chris Carson. Not that good. I'm not saying he's great, but he is like out there to prove something. He knows that any week he can lose his job. I don't know him personally. I don't know if he actually thinks like that, but just judging by how he runs and talking to other NFL players, I think it's pretty obvious. He runs tough. And going against the Bengals, Bengals defense isn't great, but they actually have some really good players, so the matchup isn't that sweet. Could be a close game. I'm just saying, hey, Tevin Coleman is out. Raheem Mostert, if you need a running back, he's there. Chris Thompson, pretty much a must-add in PPR leagues. Man, this Washington team is just has so much bad luck. I always say they're cursed, and I was rooting so tough for Darius Geis, and I don't know, again, he's injured or we don't know what the deal is, but whether he's going to be playing soon or whatnot, or he's out, we just can't really rely on Geis. If we had to really bank on it, we'd assume he's going to be injured a lot this year, and that's unfortunate. I don't want to say it, but it's just the truth. And then Adrian Peterson's a great pickup in standard leagues, non-PPR leagues. Ronald Jones showed up last week, man. He really ran well. He ran hard, made some big plays. Unfortunately, there is somewhat of a three-headed monster there. He needs to improve his pass protection and pass catching abilities. But if he can do that somehow, easier said than done, he should easily be the starter. He was hands down the best runner and most explosive running back on that team. Definitely worth a stash. And then the Rams, oh boy, is Gurley shaping up to be a bust. Now, if you got him round 3, which, believe it or not, he fell in some leagues pretty low, especially leagues where people use my cheat sheet. Darrell Henderson is not the number 2 back. It's Malcolm Brown, and Malcolm Brown is decent. We have sort of a three-headed monster here. And like I said, look, if you got Gurley in round 3, don't panic. It's actually okay. Actually panned out because there's not really too many other running backs that are doing well in that range. Carry-ons didn't do better. Montgomery, Aaron Jones, they really didn't do much better. So you're okay there. But if you did draft Gurley in the top 16, top 15, I just highly recommended you didn't do that, and it's not looking good. Malcolm Brown, look, he vultured him, but still, I watched the game, or at least I watched Gurley run, and he was running out of bounds. It's not the same Gurley, okay? And this is week 1. All right, like we've seen in the Super Bowl, we've seen something like this. We've seen it in the playoffs. These are meaningful games, and it's just worrisome in week 1. They're trying to preserve him. They're trying to limit him. They're playing it smart. This is okay move by the Rams, but we're talking about fantasy here. We're not talking about what the Rams should do or shouldn't do. Rams are doing what the smart decisions. Like that actually makes a lot of sense for the Rams. And I said this, he could be limited. When you just cut someone's snaps and touches by 70%, you don't just cut the fantasy points by 30%. It doesn't work that way, and this is what can happen. Gurley will have those amazing games too on occasion. He will, but we're going to see this more often. And if the Rams have the lead, let's say they're up 2 or 3 touchdowns, which we saw a ton of times last year, you're not going to see Gurley anymore. You're going to see Malcolm Brown. You're going to see Hendy. That's what you're going to see. Because why would you use Gurley when you have the lead? And he's now the second highest paid running back. You're not going to risk him being injured. You want to save him for week 15 when you need that win. You're going to save him for the playoffs. There's just no point in running him to the ground and giving him 25 touches, 27 touches when you have the lead and the game is almost won. It's not going to happen anymore. Malcolm Brown is going to be heavily added off waivers. Don't wait for free agency probably for a running back like this. And hey, how does this sound? Gurley could get hurt, and Malcolm Brown instantly becomes an RB1. Pretty insane here. Before I forget, as I know I'm going to forget, Nick Chubb, excellent buy low candidate. Definitely trade for Nick Chubb if owners are panicking. Oh my God, I think Nick Chubb is going to absolutely beast. I'm still on the Browns hype train. I think they'll make playoffs this year. Chubb should bounce back. And some owners are panicking, so if you want to buy low option, that's Nick Chubb right there. Alexander Mattison is going to be one of the most valuable handcuffs, and like I said, he does have some standalone value. Dalvin Cook, a little bit similar situation to Gurley. Of course, Dalvin Cook's fully healthy, not such a high injury risk. You still want to preserve him there, and the Vikings will do this from time to time. And then if you have Dalvin Cook get hurt, Madison could be an amazing running back, could be top 15, probably RB1 if Dalvin Cook were to go down. And in any format, non-PPR, PPR, he'll be a must-start every week if that were to happen. Then we have Justice Hill, who didn't do much, but he has those explosive plays in him. Don't underestimate what happened just because he didn't put up a bunch of stats. He still has that big playability, and just one injury to Mark Ingram, who rarely plays 16 games. And a lot of these players, you're probably like, I'm not going to do anything with them, whatever. Look, when the bye weeks hit, I get them. You can drop them possibly, but the bye weeks haven't hit yet. These guys are good stashes. Carlos Hyde, very mediocre, won't do much. Probably not great in PPR, but nonetheless, he's going to get carries. If the Texans have the lead, he'll get some carries. CJ Anderson is a clear-cut number 2 running back on the Lions. Kerryon Johnson outsnapped him by quite a bit, but CJ Anderson got a lot of carries. Worrisome for Kerryon Johnson owners. I'm very puzzled why Kerryon didn't do better against the Cardinals, especially when the Lions had the lead. It was weird, man. We'll see if Kerryon Johnson bounces back. Very, very weird. Jamal Williams, very underwhelming, but we saw him get some run. There is a little bit of a committee here. Aaron Jones may not be the true workhorse. Just workhorse running backs, man. They almost don't exist anymore. And Gio Bernard is here because Mixon got hurt, but Mixon should return this week or maybe even next week. Then in deep leagues, Wayne Gallman is a clear-cut number 2 running back behind Saquon Barkley, a good cuff. Only in deeper leagues, though, you don't want to handcuff Saquon in a 10-team league or anything like that. And Damian Harris was a healthy scratch. I think he'll play at some point, and I think Belichick might want to trade Sony Michel. I think he has some plans. Who knows, though? Patriots do stuff that's unpredictable, and what I just said is I probably won't predict what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I just know that they're a really good team, and so I put Rex Burkhead here in super deep leagues because Damian Harris was drafted over Rex Burkhead. We saw Rex Burkhead get run. He can run, he can catch, he can do a lot of things. He can even be a goal line back, as we seen a couple years ago. Wide receivers, I don't know if you're expecting me to put Hollywood Brown number 1, and it's not because I hate Hollywood Brown. He didn't get a lot of snaps, but he has explosivity, and he's the type of guy you do want to add. But as far as wide receivers, maybe you just hold off on picking any wide receiver, except if it's Jamison Crowder. I put a claim in for Crowder. I'd put some budget if you're doing FAAB on Crowder. Other than that, why not just wait? Like, who cares? Like, you really expect John Ross to repeat? Maybe, but probably someone else could do it too. Like, you just don't know. There's so much quantity. And I was talking about workhorse running backs are super rare. They almost don't exist anymore. We saw C-Mac as a true workhorse. Saquon the game got out of hand, and I mean, who else is like a true workhorse that does well? Zeke will be, definitely. He was eased in just a little bit week 1. I mean, that's really it. Like, there's just not too many. Bell should be. Yeah, just and same thing with wide receivers. Now that AJ Green is always hurt, Antonio Brown's not on the Steelers, and Juju emerged last year, and Julio might start declining sooner than later. Look, maybe not this year, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to make a point that these number 1 wide receivers, these Megatrons and Antonio Brown, 2015, 2017, Antonio Browns may not exist as much anymore. So to have a wide receiver that gets a ton of targets from week to week is a rare thing. And that's why I'd put in a claim for Crowder. 17 targets. That's just out of control. And going against the Bills probably was a good matchup because they have 2 good cornerbacks. I don't know why or how this happened, but that's a lot of targets, a lot of catches. I think he's going to be good and reliable the rest of the year. I would definitely add him. Other than that, man, it is what it is. Like, Hollywood Brown, super explosive. I would not spend too much FAAB on him. So this is my reasoning for having Hollywood Brown so low, is that there's a chance he's not going to be consistent. A good chance. I don't think he's going to be consistent. He's probably going to get big plays and ball out. And he's one of those guys that can ball out when you bench him and not do well and put up a stinker, 1 reception, 1 catch. When you do start him, a poor man's Tyreek Hill. if you will. Also, he's very small, a bit of an injury risk, just coming off a pretty significant foot injury, I believe. His foot or leg? Foot, I believe is a foot injury. So just precaution, man. If you have number one claim, I wouldn't put it in for Hollywood Brown. If you have $100 FAAB, I'd only spend like $5 on him and let the guy spend in $7, get him. I would just bank against it. Not that I want to, but he's just the guy that everyone's going to go goo-goo for, and I'll just let them take that risk while I go get someone else, someone cheaper, someone off free agency, because that's a smart way to play it. It is just the first week. Let the other people spend their budget. Let the other people use their waiver claims. By the way, someone dropped Tom Brady, and so I'm going to add him. I have the number one claim somehow. That was amazing. So I'm going to go get Tom Brady. See, I'm using my waiver claim for someone that like I know can finish as a top 6 quarterback. And I went late for QB, so I got Kyler Murray, I got Winston, and we know that's not working out well. So when Tom Brady, when I don't like Tom Brady, I might start Kyler Murray. I don't know, Kyler Murray. I'm gonna probably bench him against the Ravens this week, and I'm getting Tom Brady, baby, going against the Dolphins. Tom Brady's only owned like in 90% of leagues. What's going on? I'm so excited. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to go through every player. I do want to go through some, though. Ted Ginn, 7 targets, 7 receptions, over 100 yards. I think we have, ding, 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 I think we have a wide receiver, too, in New Orleans, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not the Traquan Smith. It's Ted Ginn, trusted target, reliable. He won the game. He caught the ball. And then he gave himself up, field goal with 2 seconds left, timeout. That's the type of plays I see. You know what that tells me? The stats. Everyone watched the game since it was Monday night. The stats, the targets, the receptions, the efficiency, the yards, the big playability still there probably. Drew Brees trusts this guy. And so very, very reliable. I don't know how crazy people will go over him. I have a feeling Hollywood Brown's people are going to go crazy for him. Crowder is a no-brainer. So you may have to claim him off waivers, or hopefully he'll be a free agent. And that's a no-brainer ad if he's a free agent. Mecole Hardman, a lot of snaps. No receptions. I have a feeling he's going to be heavily utilized with Tyreek Hill out. How many weeks is Tyreek Hill going to miss? They're talking to a few people, looking on Twitter. It's roughly 6 weeks. So it could be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. Maybe the Chiefs know that he's going to be out and want to take a precautious. So I'm looking for the 6 to 7 week range. Maybe they just say, hey, let's just put him on IR. We'll add another player. That could be a move too. So he could be out easily 8 weeks. Then we have Danny Amendola. I think this is what's going on. I don't know yet. The theory hasn't been formed yet since it's only been one game. But I think Patricia and the Lions hate Marvin Jones and hate Carry-On. And I think if you own those two in fantasy, you should be worried. Danny Amendola just went off. So he definitely is someone to add in PPR leagues, I would say. Deebo Samuels led the Niners with 60 snaps. He's the San Francisco 49er wide receiver to add. Dante Pettis had a whopping 2 snaps and 1 target, something like that. It was not a good day for Pettis owners. And then Devontae Parker, if you dare to pick up a Dolphin. Washington receivers are a bit of a mess. Terry McLaurin's the big play guy. And then we have Trey Quinn as the PPR guy. But he's going to be more like Cole Beasley. Not a lot of big plays, not a lot of touchdowns. AJ Brown impressed with very few snaps. Cobb I'd probably pass up on. Chris Conley was my DFS pick last week. I mean I cashed in, but not that great. We have Cole Beasley, Paris Campbell with Funchess out. Funchess is on IR, so he'll be out at least 8 weeks. Demarcus Robinson, probably the number 2 or 3 wide receiver with Tyreek Hill gone. Taylor Gabriel definitely ahead of Anthony Miller on the totem pole, but Anthony Miller had an injury early on in was it training camp or mini camp, whatever it was, so they may be easing him in. That might have been the case, but for now, Taylor Gabriel is way ahead of Anthony Miller on the depth chart. It's clear cut. A-Rob number 1, Gabriel number 2, and then Cohen kind of replaced Anthony Miller's like non-existent for the moment. We'll see if he gets his workload increase, his snaps increase. Preston Williams, another flyer on the Dolphins. Ryan Grant could be getting a lot of snaps for the Raiders. He is decent. So what are we talking here? Like 20-team leagues here. And then Big Mike Williams was injured, so Travis Benjamin would likely get a boost. For tight ends, if Hawkinson is available and Waller is available, I would probably add both of them. These guys are must adds. I was very high on Hawkinson. I started to like Waller, especially when Antonio Brown was cut, but I feel bad for not being like even more all in on Waller. I was just like, hey, he's a flyer, you know, whatever. Okay, tight end too. So at least I hit with Hawkinson, I hit with Andrews. But Waller I should have ranked way higher because the upside is so high. He basically could be Jared Cook from last year. Could easily be a top 5 tight end. He's definitely more of a tight end 1 now. Definitely top 10. Still risky, but his ceiling is high. I don't even think he reached his potential week 1. He could have easily got more catches and even scored, and that would have been a lot more fantasy points. And then the rest of the list, I don't know what the heck's up with this. Jimmy Graham probably won't repeat his week 1 performance. Noah Fant, he'll probably be good next year, but not this year. And with Funchess hurt, Ebron and Jack Doyle get a boost. So Jack Doyle worth an add for sure. Jordan Reed's always hurt, so that gives Vern Davis a boost. And then we have Tyler Higbee, who I think should be running away with the tight end 1 job on the Rams. And Mike Gesicki is all of a sudden somewhat relevant again. Dolphins will be throwing the ball, but you're going to really trust a lot of Dolphins on your team? I don't think so. Moving on to defenses. Even though the Patriots are owned in 80% of leagues and you can't pick them up in your league, I had to put them out there because the Patriots should be owned in 100% of leagues, not 99%, 100%. They're playing against the Dolphins. This game is going to be messy. It's going to be a bloodbath. Bills D is severely underrated. Playing the New York Giants, it is an away game, but not much traveling involved here. Sterling Shepard has a concussion. I think he'll play, but I don't know. Maybe he's out. If he's out, oh my God, the Bills D is going to feast. This should be a low-scoring game, or at least the Giants won't score too much. Absolutely love the Bills D. I did draft them in a couple leagues. Cowboys D, amazing, going against Washington, then going against the Dolphins. Always look ahead, folks. Don't just pick up who's playing the Dolphins this week. Pick up who's playing the Dolphins in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. That's how good, that's how juicy of a matchup it is. Stream ahead. Add a defense that's played the Dolphins 5 weeks from now. Do it. And then in deeper leagues, we had the Bengals-Niners game. Could be low scoring. I got both defenses up here. Jets D going against the Browns. I don't like it that much, but the Jets D is okay. I don't like the matchup that much, but I think Jets D is talented though. Then for kickers, my number 1 kicker is actually Hauschka, the Bills kicker, going against the Giants. Bills should dominate this game. It could be low scoring, but they should be able to get in field goal range. The defense should help out. The running back should help out. Josh Allen, don't throw any picks. Then we'll settle for a lot of field goals and some extra points. Looking very good for Hauschka. Pretty accurate kicker as well. Cairo Santos is the starting kicker for the Titans. I like that. Matt Bryant should be a huge bounce back game, but not to be trusted here. Then we have the Cowboys kicker, who's pretty good. Eagles kicker. So after the first, I guess the first 2, it's pretty close actually here. There's not much separating these kickers. Daniel Carlson, the Raiders kicker, going against the Chiefs. Lots of weird things could happen in that game. Maybe Carlson kicks 3 extra points. Maybe he kicks 5 field goals. Really hard to predict. Jason Myers, extremely accurate kicker. Kind of was a failure for me recommending him last week. Only put up 3 points. But on the bright side, extremely accurate, made all 3 of his extra points. Maybe we settle for some field goals this time, Mr. Myers. I have you in 2 of my leagues. Then we have the Panthers' new kicker, Joey Sly, going against the Bucks. Not a great defense for the Buccaneers. And Josh Lambo, I like him. He's got leg, he's got accuracy. Not the best matchup though. Please make sure you guys do visit monkeyknifefight.com or follow the link below in the description. Enter some contests, and when you deposit, make sure you use promo code COUCH. It really helps support this channel and it helps me keep doing videos like this one. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Just hit that couch icon right there. We also have a second channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. Check that out as well. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if you did not. Let me know what you think the over-under is for Derek Carr and Patrick Mahomes in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next video.